the oldest man-made standing structure. Tons of historic buildings, underground cave structures, gorgeous diving spots, dramatic cliffs, and small, busy cities with a grand cafe culture. One Mediterranean country that deserves to be more on the map of digital nomads is Malta. Located between Sicily and Africa, it offers great weather all year round and plenty of outdoor activities while also providing all necessary digital nomad infrastructure. And it has a Digital Nomad Visa. So today I will introduce Malta to you, specifically focusing on the must-haves for digital nomads and things to do on the island before moving on to the Digital Nomad Visa details. If you want to jump right to those details, you will find the timestamps down below. Just click on them and they'll take you right where you want to go. Hi, my name is Sara, and on this channel I aim to provide you with everything you need to start your digital nomad lifestyle in confidence and choose your next dream location. So if that sounds like you, please hit subscribe and click the little notification bell. And now, with that said, let's get right into Malta. Malta is a small country nestled between Italy and Africa. It is a small country that is part of the European Union and the Schengen zone. The Maltese archipelago consists of 3 main islands: Malta, which is the largest of the 3 islands, and home to Valletta, which is the country's capital. Gozo, a smaller and quieter island, and Comino, which is the smallest island and only 3.5 square kilometers big. Malta is a country bursting with history, beauty, and amazing things to see and do. Nature lovers will have plenty of opportunity to spend time outdoors, be that in the crystal clear blue sea or hiking, climbing, and mountain biking. Malta is also the 10th smallest country in the world and the most populated country in Europe due to its size. Since it is part of the European Union, its currency is the euro, and one thing that is specifically great for digital nomads is that Malta's second official language is English, so you will have no problem communicating while you're there. Let's talk a bit about the weather, shall we? Malta enjoys typical Mediterranean climate. Summers can get very hot and dry, with the sun shining up to 12 hours each day, and winters are mild and enjoyable. Malta actually has 300 days of sunshine each year. Seeing how it is basically a rock in the middle of the sea, however, it can get quite windy at times. One travel tip that I would like to share with you before we get into the Digital Nomad must-haves is that it gets extremely crowded during the summer months because it is such a popular tourist destination. Particularly between the month of June and August, Malta is bursting with tourists. So if you have any choice, maybe try and avoid those months for your stay there. It'll be much more enjoyable if you travel in the off-season. Well, now that we know a little bit about Malta, let's get into Digital Nomad must-haves. Things that are particularly important for you to be able to live this lifestyle. Number 1, always internet. 5G mobile network is available on the island, and because of the growing trend of digital nomadism on Malta, more and more co-working spaces are opening up as well. Plus, you will have plenty of cafes where you can sit and hop on the free Wi-Fi. Infrastructure. Malta is just a few hours of flight away from all major European countries. If you come from overseas, you will probably first have to fly into one of the bigger European countries and from there fly with Air Malta further to Malta. When it comes to infrastructure on the islands, there are no trains or subways, but there is a very good bus network. Bus passes are cheap and cost €1.50 for a ride in wintertime and €2 during the high season of the summer month. Now, while the buses connect all important locations, there is a timetable, but they do not run that punctual. So that is something you should probably just get used to. When it comes to driving, renting a car is an option. However, there are a few things you should know. First of all, Malta's streets are really narrow. So the smaller the cars that you rent, the easier time of driving you will have. Also, there are quite a few potholes on the streets and parking spaces are hard to find. This is something that you should be prepared for. Plus, Maltese people are known to drive, well, a little bit chaotic maybe if you're not used to that, and they drive on the left side, just like the Brits. Other than public transport or self-driving, of course, there are a couple of taxi services and ride-sharing apps. Uber doesn't seem to be one of them, but there are other ones that you can download and use, such as, for example, Bolt and Cool. Accommodation. Well, since it is such a big tourist destination, of course you have plenty of hostels, hotels, Airbnbs that you can rent. In these videos about Digital Nomad visas, I always recommend to try and rent an apartment if you decide to stay on a Digital Nomad visa. That is one of the benefits of staying on a Digital Nomad visa, actually. Since you are staying for a longer time, you don't have to rely on Airbnbs, which are a lot more expensive. Actually, that is one of the criticisms that I read on websites such as, for example, Nomad List, that the apartment prices were outrageous. But these refer mostly either to hotels or Airbnbs. If you manage to rent an apartment, you will be subject to much more of the local prices, and that will be a big saving for you. Since we've already broached the topic, let's talk about cost of living in Malta. How much money will it cost you to live there for a couple of months? A meal in an inexpensive restaurant is around 15 euros. A cappuccino will cost you around 2.30 euros. A monthly bus pass will cost you 26 euros. A 1 kilometer taxi ride will cost you 2 euros. And basic utilities for an 85 square meter apartment will cost you approximately 92 euros. An internet flat rate will cost you 34 euros. And renting an apartment in the city center will cost you approximately 818 euros. While renting an apartment outside of the city center will cost you 688 euros. Here I always like to point out that these are average numbers, so living in Valletta, the capital, might be more expensive, whereas living in some smaller, more rural area will be a lot cheaper. So if you really want to go to Malta but these prices seem a little high for you, try and see if you can maybe change your location. The islands are so small and so well connected that you can still enjoy Malta while living a little bit outside. Let's talk about where to live and meet other digital nomads and what to do. Here I've decided to compile the list according to the 3 islands, so you have a sense of location right away and might get a better feel for the country and the different islands and what they offer. Let's start with the biggest and most populated island first, Malta, and its capital city, Valletta. Valletta is also called the Fortress City. It is not only the capital, but possibly also one of the most famous cities in Malta, and has a distinct look due to its narrow streets that are connected by staircases, almost giving it the feel of a multi-level maze. Valletta offers a mix of modern comfort and century-old history, and it is located right by the sea, which gives you the opportunity to lie by the beach every single day. History buffs, on the other hand, might want to explore Valletta's century-old churches, or you could discover some of its museums, cafes, restaurants and bars. Valletta is also famous for its colorful Maltese balconies. One spectacle that you shouldn't miss while in Valletta is the firing of the cannons at the Upper Baraka Garden, which is taking place at noon. Another important landmark is the St. John's Co-Cathedral. While it doesn't look like much from the outside, the inside is absolutely stunning. It features beautiful, intricate gold details and paintings from Caravaggio. And it provides a last resting place for the Grand Masters of the Order of Malta, which are entombed here. Speaking of Grand Masters, let's move on to the Grand Master's Palace, which is also worth a visit, particularly its impressive armory. Here you can discover over 5,000 pieces of armory and weapons that once belonged to the Knights and Grand Masters of Malta. Another favorite amongst digital nomads and expats on Malta is Sliema. Sliema is a great option for you if you want a place that is a little less bustling than Valletta and where the housing prices are a little more affordable. Sliema is a slightly smaller coastal town on a peninsula. This is why it offers absolutely stunning sea views. There are also plenty of delicious restaurants, cafes and bars along the promenade where you can sit in the sun and people watch. Free Wi-Fi and co-working spaces are available in the neighboring town of Gzira. Going down in size even further, the city of Rabat is a beautiful destination. Rabat is a calmer, smaller town with a lot less noise level, which allows you to live a calmer life closer to nature. Some digital nomad reviews that I have read of, for example, Sliema or Valletta, are that the noise level is quite high. People talk loud, there's a lot of traffic, dogs barking, whatsoever. This is partly because of, it's a very narrow place, a very highly densely populated place, and of course the fiery culture also plays a role. So if you are somebody who is easily disturbed by higher noise level, Rabat might be a place for you. Rabat is also connected to the ancient capital city of Medina, also known as the Silent City, because cars are not allowed here. But we will look closer into that in a minute. Rabat has a very historic charm, small shops, supermarkets and street stalls. But it also has all the modern amenities you need for location-independent lifestyle, cafes and speedy internet. In Rabat, one of the absolute must-sees are the St. Paul's catacombs. These were serving as an underground burial ground from Punic, Roman and Byzantine times, and their usage started in at least the 3rd or 4th century BC. This is why the St. Paul's catacombs represent the earliest and largest collection of archaeological evidence of Christianity in Malta. Talking about times long past, let's talk about Medina, which I've already mentioned. Medina, the fortified settlement, used to be the island's capital. It sits on a scenic hill in the center of the island and is famous for being encircled by dominating fortifications. These days, there are actually only 300 people living in Medina permanently, but it is, as you can probably imagine, a great tourist attraction. There are a huge range of activities you can enjoy here, such as strolling around the picturesque streets, or looking into the many museums. Or why not take your work with you and sit in one of the beautiful cafes? Another very impressive historical site on Malta are the Hagar Qim Temples that you should definitely visit if you have the chance. This is a megalithic temple complex dating back to 3600 to 3200 BC. The Hagar Qim Temple is actually among the most ancient religious sites on Earth, described by the World Heritage Site Committee as a unique architectural masterpiece. If you need a cool off and would like to spend some time in nature, I recommend that you visit the St. Peter's Pool. The St. Peter's Pool is close to Mark Salok, which is another great location by itself. Actually, this cute fishing town might be the perfect location for you to have dinner after your day at St. Peter's Pool. The pool itself is a great swimming spot and a natural pool that has been dug by erosion. It is also a really popular cliff jumping spot. Let's move away from the bustling island of Malta over to Gozo. Gozo is perfect for you if you crave a quieter lifestyle, closer to nature, and, with less people. Gozo's population is around 34,000 on an area of 67 square kilometers. Its capital is Victoria. Also, just so you're not being confused, known as Rabat. Gozo is known for its medieval citadel with fortified walls. It is situated on a hilltop inland, making it the highest point of the entire island, and from the citadel you can actually see the entirety of Gozo. In Victoria itself, you will find everything you need for a digital nomad lifestyle: cafes with Wi-Fi, museums, restaurants, bars, shops, and supermarkets. Yet, you will have the possibility to step out into nature at any time. One of these places in nature that you shouldn't miss is Gozo's Blue Hole. This is a unique natural rock formation and one of the island's most popular diving spots. Over thousands of years, wind and waves have carved an upright tube out of the rocks. It is fed with fresh seawater by an underwater arch which is located 10 meters below the surface. So if you are a diver, this should make a great diving experience for you. But even from above sea, Gozo's weather and sea-battered coastline is a beautiful sight. And a great way to discover it is by kayak. Here you can discover hidden sea caves and beautiful coastal formations. And for a special experience, you should include the Gozo Inland Sea. This is a lagoon of seawater linked to the sea through an opening formed by a narrow tunnel that you can kayak through. If you keep going west of Mas Halfon, you will also reach another century-old beautiful site, salt pans. These salt pans are actually still used today, and between May and September, when the salt is harvested, you can purchase local salt from the vendors by the side of the road. Aside from water activities, Gozo is also a great place to hike. There are several paths along the coast, and you can almost walk all around the island. Most of them are actually pretty easy trails too, so they are suitable for beginners. Last but not least, let's have a look at Comino, the smallest of the 3 islands, with only 3.5 square kilometers in radius and 4 permanent residents. Comino is the best spot in Malta if you like reef and cave diving, and it is home to one of Malta's most favorite swimming spots, the Blue Lagoon. This is a stretch of glittering blue water flanked by protective caves. It is just perfect for snorkeling. But not only that, Comino is actually also a perfect spot for divers, which can expect to see a wide range of aquatic life here, such as, for example, the octopus and the barracuda. Now, before we move on to the visa details, I would like to leave you with some multi-location adventures that you can embark on Malta. The first one also relates to diving. Actually, Malta is a very, very famous diving spot. Part of the reason is that there are a number of artificial reefs here, as well as a number of military shipwrecks which date back to the Second World War. Now, when it comes to impressive structures, I've already mentioned one of the Megalithic Temples. However, Malta has 7. These are divided between the islands of Malta and Gozo, and some have even been awarded UNESCO World Heritage Site. All of them were built between the 4th and 3rd century BC. One of the biggest ones is the Gantija Temple on Gozo. It is located east of Victoria and is older than the Egyptian pyramids or Stonehenge. Jantia actually means giant in Maltese, because Gozitan people were convinced that only giants could have been able to carry and put together these massive rocks. If you find this video helpful, I would also like to ask you to give it a thumbs up, because this is a free way for you to support me in making this channel available to more people. Thanks a lot, and now let's get on to the visa details. In order to qualify for the Digital Nomad Visa to Malta, you will have to be a digital nomad, as in you will have to be able to work remotely, either by being self-employed or by working for a company outside of Malta. You will also have to earn 2,700 euros a month. You can, if you like, bring dependents such as a spouse or children. And required documents are the following: a passport with at least 2 blank pages in the back, the application form N1, I will link it down below, a cover letter stating your intent of why you would like to stay in Malta, and work contracts that will prove that you have a stable income, so either by your employer or if you're self-employed, for example, contracts with future clients. You will furthermore need your CV that states all your latest work experience, and if you want to bring a dependent, you need to prove your relationship status, for example, through marriage certificate. Furthermore, you need to prove accommodation, as in rent somewhere in Malta so they know that you have a place to stay, and bring bank statements to prove your income. These need to show your income for the last 6 months. Furthermore, you need health insurance and a health declaration stating that you are healthy. This you should be able to get at any hospital. Now for the application process. First, you need to gather all relevant documents, and then you just need to apply online. And once you've been approved, you can travel to Malta to collect your residence permit. One great benefit about the Digital Nomad Visa in Malta is actually its taxation. Malta won't tax you on income that you have earned outside of Malta. And this is applicable even if you stay more than the 183 days that make you a tax resident on some of the other Digital Nomad visas, as for example the one in Estonia. If you're considering the Digital Nomad Visa to Malta but would like to know about some other options, I highly recommend checking out the new Digital Nomad Visa to Portugal app here, which I just reviewed and which is accepting applications from October 30th. Maybe that is another option for you. With that said, thanks for your time, and I'll see you here in the next one. Bye bye.